Welcome back to Sid Says.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Sid Says. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited about today's video because we will be discussing one of my absolute favorite artists, and that is SZA. So, today I really wanted to spend some time exploring SZA as the songwriter. I mean, obviously we know she's an incredibly talented artist. She has a beautiful voice. She's been extremely influential in the R&B space, and I wouldn't even limit her to that. I think she's been extremely influential to, artists across the board in so many different ways ever since the release of her 2017 album Control. And so, one of my favorite things about her is actually how incredible of a songwriter she is. And so, I just wanted to walk through some of the songwriting in Control, why I think it's so excellent, what I think she's doing that's innovative, that's different, that's, really pushing her pen and also is so influential to those around her. Now, just for a little bit of background, SZA is more of a new wave, modern style, vibey R&B artist. She put out a couple of different EPs that were received really well, like S and Z and C SZA Run, before she ultimately put out Control, which was her debut album. In addition to that, she did a lot of songwriting for other artists. So, for example, the song Consideration, which is the first track of Rihanna's album Anti, was written by SZA, and SZA is actually featured on it as well. But she has a couple different tracks that she's written for other artists. She's signed to TDE, and she's collaborated with a lot of their artists as well. Artists like, Kendrick Lamar, Isaiah Rashad, etc. And yeah, I just think she's really unique. Her style is really unique. Her voice is exceptionally unique. And so let's delve in. So, with Control, the track listing has, let's see, I believe it's 14 tracks. I could be wrong, but I don't really counting. But we'll start off with Supermodel, okay? So that's the first track off of Control. Now, Supermodel is actually a song that started off kind of as a freestyle. If you watch interviews where she talks about the song, she's essentially in the booth and had a friend that had played that guitar beat, and she was just sort of vibing out and freestyling to it. And the reason I love this track is because it definitely sounds like a freestyle. If you look at some of the lyrics on the song, why am I so easy to forget like that? It can't be that easy for you to get like that. Oh no, she didn't. Oh yes, she did. Oh no, she didn't. I'll do it again. Leave me lonely for prettier women. I need too much attention for shit like that. You wrong for shit like that. I could be your supermodel. If you believe, if you see it in me, see it in me, see it in me, I don't see myself. The reason I love this song is because there's so much vulnerable expression in the lyrics, and that's something she does a lot, where she's conveying these feelings of insecurity and of not being good enough and of, having self-doubt and questioning her relationships and how she's perceived and all of these things, which are very common, relatable things to feel. But she captured it in a way that just feels so raw and authentic. And it's almost like there's not a whole bunch of thought that she forces into expressing these emotions. It comes out very naturally, and that prevents it, I think, from feeling cliched, which is kind of what can happen, in my opinion, with some of those woe is me, I'm the lamest girl type of songs. I feel like she avoids it being cliched because it just feels so authentic and feels so vulnerable. And with this song, Supermodel, actually, there isn't actually a rhyme pattern throughout the song. Obviously, a lot of modern day songs, they sort of follow a formula of, okay, you have your catchy hook, you have, a verse, you have your hook, pre-chorus, chorus, essentially, and then you have another verse, and then you might have, like, a bridge, and then another chorus. Like, they just follow this standard structure, and you have certain types of rhyming patterns that are often used. And she really doesn't do that in this song either. It's sort of just an extended verse. The flow of it switches up a couple times, and she's just, expressing her emotions in a sort of stream of consciousness way, which I think works exceptionally well, especially as a starting track. It's extremely stripped back, and it just kind of, through the process of listening to this album, I feel like listeners really walk away feeling like they know SZA, which is a really difficult thing to achieve, and I think she achieves it really well through her songwriting. The next track on the project is Love Galore, which features Travis Scott. This song was a single, and the thing I want to highlight from this track is a couple of her lyrics in this track. So one being, Why you bother me when you don't know you don't want me? Why you bother me when you know you got a woman? Those are questions that so many people have asked themselves when they're stuck in some sort of complicated situationship or when they're with a person that's hard to read. And so just hearing her say those really simple lines in the song, it grabs you, and that's something I really love throughout this project, is that there's some really simple lines, simple phrases that she puts in that just kind of hammer in the sentiment really well. And this is actually, in my opinion, a strong contrast from her previous project, Z. I love that EP so much. I was like obsessed with it my freshman year of college. But Z, like, is very poetic, is very figurative. There's lots of imagery used, lots of metaphors, similes, all of that used throughout that project. And it doesn't really have that diary feel that Control has. And I love Z for that. I think it's gorgeous. I think the songwriting is gorgeous. But Control is very direct, is very confessional, and it works so well. And I think that's part of why I respect SZA's songwriting so much, is because she has that range to be able to do something that's beautifully poetic and then also be able to do something that is very confessional and just authentic and stripped back, but it still, is well written. All right, and then the next track is Doves in the Wind. Now this track is interesting to me because this is the if you're not sure which song this is the one where she says the P word repeatedly, right? I remember the first time I heard the song, I found it a little bit jarring because I was like, oh, I'm not used to SZA sounding like this, and using this sort of language on her records. But she does that with intention. It's to, deliver a message of it's almost like a pushback against misogyny, a pushback against reducing women to just P word, essentially. And so the first line of the song is, real hitters do not deserve P word, meaning it's more you see right through walls, ain't talking about P word. So immediately she grabs you, she's using this word that can be kind of harsh to some listeners twice immediately, but then it's like, okay, what is she saying? And so throughout the song, she kind of details, I'm more than just this. It's more than just sexual connection. I want to be more than that for you. I want you to want more than that. And then, Kendrick Lamar comes in. He delivers a great verse. There's a whole story behind the song, apparently, that, originally it was a full song where she had an additional verse that she removed for Kendrick to be on it. And that additional verse helps, like, deliver the message even more. So I'd love to hear that at some point. But, it's like she wrote this song with a lot of intention when it comes to, her word choice, her diction. And it hits the listeners as a little bit jarring, but then it forces them to listen to, okay, what is she trying to say? And I just think it's interesting when you're able to do that as an artist. Right. The next song, love the song, is Drew Barrymore. And one thing that immediately stands out to me about the song is the first line where she says, why is it so hard to accept the party is over? And that line, I feel like there's so much layered meaning within that. It's the kind of line where you can just sit with that. Like, why is it so hard to accept the party is over? And I love that. One thing about SZA is she knows how to have a strong intro for a song. And then, she continues on later in the song. She's like, I get so lonely, I forget what I'm worth. We get so lonely, we pretend that this works. I'm so ashamed of myself, I think I need therapy. I'm sorry I'm not more attractive. I'm sorry I'm not more ladylike. I'm sorry I don't shave my legs at night. I'm sorry I'm not your baby mama. I'm sorry you got karma coming to you. Collect your soul, get it right. And, you're hearing someone who is feeling extremely low, feels like they're not enough, they're not worth enough, they're not deserving of you, apologizing, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not ladylike enough, I'm not this enough. And that's an extremely vulnerable way to feel. But it's like, even lines like, we get so lonely we pretend that this works, like, just for a second sit with that. Like, what does that mean? It's like the people who forge connections out of loneliness and kind of delude themselves into thinking that what they have is real when they both know it's not. And I feel like she's able to capture some of these kind of complicated relationship dynamics and complicated feelings and just say them in such a simple way, but where you as a listener, like, you're able to resonate with it and you immediately know what she's talking about. and that's, again, as a gift of songwriting. All right, the next song is Prom. So this is not my favorite track. I think it's just because of the production of the song, and it's a little bit 80s influenced in my opinion, but I think that's, I don't know, I have a bias against 80s influenced stuff. Like, if you if you get to know me, you'll realize that. But anyways, so in this song, she says, fear and not growing up, keeping me up at night. Am I doing enough? Feel like I'm wasting time. I mean, isn't that the existential crisis that so many of us experience? That quarter life crisis where you're up at night asking yourself these questions and just overthinking, And again, that's how she starts off the song. And ironically, it's about prom, right? But it's sort of that young person's plight where they're trying to figure out themselves, figure out their purpose. And that's part of what control is. It's just like self-exploration, asking questions, trying to navigate young adulthood, encountering relationships, feeling insecurities. Like, that's what this entire project really captures, which is why I recommend this project so much, not just to women, because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, of course it's going to resonate strongly with women, but I think men can relate to a lot of these feelings as well, because men experience insecurities. Men question life and purpose in their 20s, and these are just human struggles, right? And so the reason I like her songs is because she's able to talk about all of those different things in a way that, again, isn't cliched. It doesn't feel hyper redundant. It feels fresh and authentic, and I love that. The next song is, in my opinion, probably one of the biggest, most impactful songs from this project, and it's The Weeknd. Now, when this song came out, of course, everyone was going crazy because they were like, oh my gosh, is she talking about being a side chick? Is that what the song is about? Is she glorifying being a side chick? Like, what's wrong with this generation? Like, there was so much conversation about what the song is about. But if you really pay attention, it's like, what is she saying, right? If you listen to the song, and I only have the verse highlighted here, the chorus highlighted here, but the chorus says, my man is your man, heard that's her man too. My man is your man, heard that's her man. Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, I just keep him satisfied through the weekend. You like 9 to 5, I'm the weekend. Make him lose his mind every weekend. You take Wednesday, Thursday, then just send him my way. Think I got it covered for the weekend. So throughout the verses, you'll actually recognize that what she's talking about is, the situationship. The situationship, that's such a common sort of dating dynamic in 2022. But it's essentially where, you have people who aren't exclusive to each other. And, like, she wants to be exclusive with this guy, right? She has feelings for this guy, but she's like, you know what? If the situation is we're not exclusive, he has other people involved, instead of being upset about it, let me almost pretend that it works for me. I'm going to own it. So I'm going to say, yeah, you be with them on these days, you be with them on these days. And, when you're with me, you're present with me. And that's just what it is. So it's like you almost trying to empower yourself within a situation that just kind of is what it is. So she's not a side chick. She's just one of the people that is involved with this guy, right? And that's something that is really common. A lot of people find themselves in those types of situations where you're just like, hey, we don't have a title here, it's not super official here, but I'm going to pretend this works for me. And you hear so many women saying things like, oh, I have a roster, or oh, this, oh, that, like different ways that they almost try and make themselves feel better about, because I think in my personal experience, I feel like a lot of women who are in these types of situations do wish they could just have an exclusive official relationship with this person, but sometimes they're not able to. And so instead of wallowing in that, they'll, try and lift themselves up by saying, oh no, I have a roster, or oh no, he's just one of my dudes, or whatever, try and make the situation work for them. And so, I think the song is extremely relatable because of that. And of course, hearing my man is your man, heard that's her man too, it's like, whoa. All right, so the next song we have here is Go Gina. Go Gina is one of the tracks that I haven't listened to as much from this project. But I do want to highlight some of the lyrics in this song as well. So she says, probably true what they say about me. Probably came from my inner circle. It usually comes from your inner circle. Or lack thereof, and I don't know who I can trust. I've been dropping out, and I've been hanging out with my high friends. And we too stoned to pay attention now. Anyways, the reason I want to point out this track is because I think it showcases two things that SZA often does. One is sort of that stream of consciousness, right? Probably true what they say about me. It probably came from my inner circle. It usually comes from your inner circle or lack thereof, and I don't know who to trust. So it's that kind of, talking yourself through something, writing, right? And then also the line, it usually comes from your inner circle. So she'll throw in little wisdoms a lot of times in her music, and a song like Good Days, for example, I think is a perfect example of that. And it's not uncontrolled, so I'm not going to discuss it right now, but that's another song where I think the writing is really excellent for a lot of reasons. But it's like she'll talk about really relatable things in sort of a stream of consciousness way, where it's just like raw expression, and then throw in little wisdoms throughout it. And I think that's a really, really strong way of just delivering these sentiments, right? Because it's like she hasn't said a lot here, but you feel like you're able to receive so much from what she has said. All right, so the next track is my favorite track from Control. One of my favorite records, period, just in general. And it is Garden, parentheses, Say It Like That. So in this song, like, I love this song so much. This is one of those songs where it's like when I play it, I play the first like 15 seconds and I'm like, okay, rewind it back to the beginning, and I'll do that over and over before I listen to it all the way through. I just think she sounds gorgeous in it. I think the lyrics are strong. I think the production is so nice, and like there's little details in the production that I really appreciate. So yeah, but the song starts off as need you for the old me, need you for my sanity, need you to remind me where I come from. Can you remind me of my gravity? Ground me when I'm tumbling, spiraling, plummeting down to earth. You keep me down to earth. Like, that is just so poetic, that delivery. Can you remind me of my gravity? Ground me, right? We're talking about gravity. Ground me when I'm tumbling, spiraling, plummeting down to earth. You keep me down to earth. Gorgeous. Call me on my bullshit. Lie to me and say my booty getting bigger, even if it ain't. And so here we see, she's using this sort of poetic, descriptive writing, and then immediately contradicts it with, call me on my bullshit, lie to me and say my booty getting bigger even if it ain't. She immediately kind of juxtaposes it with this really direct form of writing, but it's all still capturing the same sentiment. And that's something she does in a couple other areas in her music, to where, it creates this sort of complexity, I think, to her writing when you have that element and then immediately followed up by something that's like very direct, and I love that pairing that she does. And then later in the song, and this is like my favorite part of the song, is let's see, and hope you never find out who I really am, 'cause you'll never love me, you'll never love me, you'll never love me, you'll never love me, but I believe you when you say it like that. Like, that sentiment is just so heartbreaking to me. Like, I remember when I first heard this song, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is so gorgeous. Like it's essentially like you love someone so much and you care about them so much and you want that moment to last forever, like with every part of you, but it's not gonna work, and it's just not gonna work because of who you are, because of who you guys, like, it's just not gonna work, and it's just so beautiful, her saying, I hope you never find out who I really am, because you'll never love me, but I believe you when you say it like that. And it's like, okay, for this moment, I'm going to push everything aside, push away what I know is the truth, and I'm going to believe you in this moment because I want this moment to last. Like, that's such a unique thing to capture in music. That kind of sentiment is just, I know, I love it so much. I love it so much. Like, I just think it's so beautiful and, like, tragic, and, like, there's so much about it. But whenever I hear that part of the song, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I love it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, because you're capturing sort of those, like, wistful, sad, heartbreak relationship emotions, but I think it's a unique narrative to pair with it. Like, I love that. So yeah, I absolutely love this song. And then another great track from the project is Broken Clocks. So in this song, she starts off with, run fast from my day job, running fast from the way it was, jump quick to a paycheck, running back to the strip club, I'm never going back, never going back, no you can't make me, never going back, they'll never take me. And what I like about this track is the rhythm that she creates with her delivery. And so it's like with the length of syllables and with the way the lines are arranged, like run fast from my day job, run it fast from the way it was, jump quick to a paycheck. Like she just creates this rhythm that kind of matches, like your running speed, whatever, whatever she's saying in her lyrics. It's like you kind of get that tone just from the bounciness of the lyrics here. And again, I appreciate that element. And then the next track on the project is Anything. And so this one starts off, maybe I should kill my inhibition. And then maybe I'll be perfect in a new dimension. And so the reason I highlighted that part of the song is because, again, strong opening. Like that's one thing she's excellent at, is like these strong entry lines where it just piques your curiosity, it kind of hooks you in and makes you want to pay attention. Maybe I should kill my inhibition. You're like, oh, okay, why? like what are we saying, And again, the track Drew Barrymore, strong opening. Why is it so hard to accept the party's over? Like she's great at that, and I really appreciate that. There's no filler with SZA. Yes. And next we have the track Normal Girl. So Normal Girl, she says, I wish I was, actually I'll start a little bit earlier. She says, want to be the type of girl you take home to your mama. The type of girl I know your fellas, they'd be proud of. Be proud of, be proud of. Normal girl, I wish I was a normal girl. How do I be your baby? Normal girl, I wish I was a normal girl. And so this track, this is kind of the age-old, I'm, the girl who's like a little bit lame, I'm not good enough, I'm insecure, right? This is like an expression that has been written about so many times. There's so many songs that kind of capture that. But I like the way she does it because she does it in kind of to me, a little bit of a different way, a little bit of a way that deviates from cliche. You have her just saying like, I want to be the kind of girl that you're proud enough to be with, that you would take her home to your mother. I want to be the kind of girl that you would flex in front of your guy friends. So she's saying those really simple things. But, again, it is that same kind of trope of insecure girl trope. But I think the way she does it prevents it from just feeling extremely redundant. Because she could literally just say, I'm so insecure, I'm so lame, I wish you liked me, but she's not saying that. So it's more so implying all of that, right? All right, and now the next song we have is Pretty Little Birds. I love this song. I think it's beautiful. I think probably in terms of songwriting, this and Garden are my favorites from this project. So this song, it says, you are but a phoenix amongst feathers. You're broken by the waves among the sea. They'll let you die, they'll let you wash away, but you swim as well as you fly. Pretty little bird, you've hit the window a few times. Pretty little bird, you still ain't scared of no heights. When the spiral down, feel as good as the flight. And then, okay. So yeah, the reason I love this song is because I just think there's so much beautiful imagery, through the way that she's saying these things. Like, first of all, it is metaphorical, obviously, but there's so much imagery throughout this song, and it really kind of like takes you into another space as you're listening to it, and it is very beautiful. And my favorite part of the song is the second verse, actually, where SZA says, told you I like gentle giants, so you softened up. You've been jacking, beanin', stalking just to get to me, love. I want to be your golden goose. Okay. So obviously this is like Jack and the Beanstalk story, right? Extended metaphor using that. Told you I like gentle giants, right? Jack and the Beanstalk, there's the giant. I like gentle giants, so you softened up. You've been jacking, beanin', stalking just to get to me, love, right? I want to be your golden goose. I want to be the object of your affection, okay? And then immediately the line after, right? So again, told you I like gentle giants, so you softened up. You've been jacking, beanin', stalking just to get to me, love. I want to be your golden goose. I want to shave my legs for you. I want to take all of my hair down and let you lay in it. Spread all of my limbs out and let you lay in it. Wow. Like, the reason I love this is because we have that beautiful metaphor, and then I want to be your golden goose, and immediately juxtaposed by I want to shave my legs for you. Something so direct. But also, as direct as that is, I want to shave my legs for you, it's like there's a sentiment behind there, an implied sentiment of like, I want to love you so much, care about you so much, want to be so perfect for you, that I want to shave my legs. I want to perfect myself for you. Like, that's essentially what she's saying through that simple line. I want to shave my legs for you. But it's like so many girls will hear that and know exactly what that is, what it feels to like a guy so much that it's like, I want to shave my legs for you, right? And then next she's like, I want to take all of my hair down and let you lay in it. Spread all of my limbs out and let you lay in it. I want to share every part of myself with you. I want to make myself vulnerable and give myself to you. That's essentially what she's saying. And I just think she says all of that so well, so beautifully, captures all of that sentiment. I feel like I keep saying the word beautifully, but that's kind of how I would describe SZA songwriting, is beautiful. Right, and then, this track, of course, has Isaiah Rashad on it. And whenever SZA and Isaiah Rashad are on a track together, I just think it's gold. Like, they are some of my favorite collaborators. Like, if you ask me, take two artists, put them on a track together, they would be in my tops. I'd be like, SZA and Isaiah Rashad. Everything they put out, I love. Everything they put out, I think is beautiful. So, yes, them. Right. Moving on to the last track. I know I skipped Wavy, which is an interlude. I just didn't have a lot to say about that song. It's very short. So we are at 20-something by SZA. And so in this song, she says, stuck in them 20-somethings. Stuck in them 20-somethings, good luck on them 20-somethings, good luck on them 20-somethings. But God bless these 20-somethings. Hoping my 20-somethings won't end, hoping to keep the rest of my friends. Praying the 20-somethings don't kill me, don't kill me. That is the quintessential 20-somethings quarter-life crisis. The 20-somethings, they are difficult times. People say, oh, it's the best time of your life. I'm sure it can be, but also, like, there's so much that you're confronted with, especially, I think, this generation. We have the pandemic, obviously. This song was written before all of that, but I'm just saying we have the pandemic. You have enormous amounts of college debt. You're, trying to figure out your purpose. You're dealing with the climate crisis. Like, there's just so much that I feel like this generation of people is facing. Obviously, this generation is, like, so deeply connected because of social media, and so you're hearing about people's experiences that have different backgrounds than yours and that may be across the world from you. We feel each other's pain so deeply. There's such a rise in activism and, caring about social issues, and, you just feel so much constantly all the time, and you're just so aware of everything, I feel like. And so the 20-somethings do bring a lot of questions, and you're worried about relationships, and you're worried about being good enough, and about what you'll grow into, and there's just all of that, right, that you feel, and that anxiety, too, that comes with that. And so a song like this, 20-something, is just kind of tapping a bit into that, and a bit into some of those feelings, especially at an interpersonal level, relationship level. So, yeah, I really, I appreciate that as well. And I guess I would just conclude everything by saying SZA's songwriting, I think, is very impactful because she's able to deliver lyrics that feel very relatable, but not cliched. She does that, I think, through, one, throwing in metaphors and figurative language here and there, which showcase her artistry, but also, two, she's able to take sort of these complex emotions and conflicting emotions and really concisely express them in these sort of diary-esque, through these diary-esque lyrics. And part of that is through her streams of consciousness and the little wisdoms that I mentioned, but she can take, like, a complicated feeling of insecurity and feeling vulnerable and all of these things and say a really simple line that kind of just hits home with that. And I think it's a skill to really have that range that she showcases, not just in Control, but especially if you listen to her prior projects and see, the difference in her songwriting between then and now as well. And the reason I think she's influenced so many of her peers, I feel like so many artists that I listen to now, you can hear this as an influence, either in their songwriting and, like, the rawness and vulnerability of some of their songwriting, but also sometimes in the tone, in the way they'll do vocal inflections. Control is one of those projects that is absolutely a classic project, which is why she has the audience, and, like, I would almost describe it as a cult following that she has, where she doesn't have to do much in terms of promotion or anything like that to have people run to listen to her tracks. You have people anxiously awaiting these unreleased tracks like Shirt, and obviously I Hate You just dropped and did extremely well. She just has people who really believe in her and really champion her sound because of what she's done to set herself apart, and it has been really influential. So I really enjoyed, getting a chance to talk to you all about why I love SZA's songwriting. Hopefully, if you are not someone who's checked out a lot of her music, this makes you want to do so. Would love to hear anyone's thoughts, would love to discuss different parts of this video more. And thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe, and see you next time.